Hi everyone, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I am here live to answer your immigration questions. So I like to close out my workday with you to answer your questions and basically spend the last few minutes or the last couple of minutes with you. So go ahead, drop your questions in the comments and I will happily answer your questions. Hi there, Simone. It's nice to see you. So I want to formally introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green card or their status in the United States. And I come here every day to answer your immigration questions, to help guide your decisions on or guide you on what you should be doing. If your situation is more complex, I definitely encourage you to get legal advice. You can schedule a consultation with me by going to the link in my bio where you can go to the website, learn more about me, contact. You'll get the contact number, which is 561-405-4889. You also see it plastered all over my videos if you follow me. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. I usually come with a topic today, and today I'm going to be talking about the waiver. So I got a question on one of the videos, and I've actually been getting a lot of questions, one word question, how? And so I'm going to answer that question tonight. And this is one way to fix your immigration status if you're in the United States without your papers, and you don't qualify to apply for the green card through adjustment of status. Then the next option is you can apply for forgiveness by applying for a waiver. The waiver I'm talking about is called the I-601A waiver or the Unlawful Presence waiver. Hi, Philippe. Philippe, it's nice to see you. So go ahead, drop your questions. I'm here to answer your questions. I just want to let you know before I delve into the topic that I've brought with me is that you are my priority. Your questions are my priority. So as soon as I see your questions coming in, I'm going to stop talking about the topic just to answer your questions. Hi there, Bibi Ali. It's nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. If you have questions, feel free and comfortable to type those questions in. Another thing is your questions don't have to be related to the topic I'm talking about. So the unlawful. Hi there, Nikki Bless 39. It's nice to see you here again. So when you're applying for the unlawful presence waiver, what it does is it allows those who are basically, hi there, Sassy. It allows those who are stuck here in the United States without their papers, who are unable to leave, but at the same time, they must leave to go to their home country to finish the green card process. It allows them to, if it's approved, it allows them to leave the country, go to the final green card interview at the embassy, and complete the green card process there. And it also allows them to, it prevents them from being, the unlawful presence from being held against them. So my mom is a PR and is ill. Can she file for me? Absolutely. So if your mom is ill, she can file for you. But and you said that she's a permanent resident. So you're the perfect example of what I'm talking about tonight. So if you're over 21 and your mom and you're unmarried, so in order for a green card holder to sponsor their son or daughter, they must be unmarried. Hi, Tug 1981. And if you're unmarried, you're over 21 or even under 21, what would happen is your mom could file for you, and then she would, once that I-130 becomes So the I-130 is approved, the next step would be to apply for a waiver. Now, that's if you're in the United States and you're without your papers. If you're outside of the United States, it's going to be a more straightforward process. But what would happen is the waiver would allow you to leave the country to complete the green card process. And the waiver, to qualify for that waiver, you'll have to show that your mom will experience extreme hardships if you don't get the green card. Well, you mentioned that she's ill, which would definitely be one of the major extreme hardship factors to put into that waiver. Now, I just want to let you know that this waiver is complex. It takes a lot of preparation and strategy, so don't do it alone. Now, if you're in another country already and you want to come up to help your mom, then she can file for you. It does take years. So it does take about 5 to 6 years right now for a green card holder or permanent resident parent to file for their son or daughter who's 21 and up. In this case, you said you were told that the process would be faster. Now, it would not automatically go faster, but it depends on the extent of your mom's illness and whether what she's going through is developing into a crisis and she absolutely needs you there, and it's turning into an emergent situation. Then there are ways to request that the green card process be expedited to help your mom in her urgent situation. But to determine that, I would definitely need to speak with you in a consultation and determine whether you would qualify for that and basically discuss the strategy moving forward. You can give me a call at 561-405-4889 and then we can schedule a consultation. So let's see, Christine, if my mom is dead, can her mom file for me? So in this case, your grandmother, what you could do. So in this case, if your mom died, if she is a U.S. citizen and your petition was approved already, then there is a chance, there is something called the Humanitarian Reinstatement. And in that case, what you would need is the application there could be a request to get a humanitarian reinstatement based on, the fact that your mom died, but it was still approved. And then someone could step in, for example, like if your grandmom was a U.S. citizen or green card holder, they could step in and serve as a sponsor. Christine, this is something that it really depends on timing and what the status of your mom was, at what stage was your process. And so I urge you to get legal advice, schedule a consultation with me to see if you would, to confirm whether you qualify for the humanitarian reinstatement, because that could very well be a possibility. And usually with that, what they require is someone to step in to serve as a sponsor for the affidavit of support. So you can call me at 561-405-4889 and we'll go more into detail regarding your facts and how whether that you qualify for. Sassy, can you explain the process of a citizen helping a non-citizen gain papers? So a U.S. citizen, usually their U.S. citizen can help another individual to gain their papers, and it has to be based on family. So U.S. citizens can only apply for their spouse, their sons or daughters, or their parent, anything, and sibling. Anything out of that, they wouldn't be able to help a non-citizen if they are not a family member. So that would basically be how an individual citizen can help a non-citizen to gain their papers. Philippe, sure, okay. Farah Pressram, hi, my dad was sponsored by his mom 13 years ago. Can you tell how long more he has to wait? So it really depends on what the status of your mom is and what the marital status and the age of your dad is. It's 13 years ago, so your dad was sponsored by his mother. So that seems like an awfully long time. I mean, the application that's taking the longest, where it is a U.S. citizen sponsoring their married sons or daughters over 21. That one is taking around 12 years. So it depends. If your grandmother or his mom is a permanent resident who is sponsoring the dad who is over 21, then right now it's taking 5 to 6 years. So you definitely want to check on where the status is. What you need to do is call the National Visa Center that will call the organization, the USCIS or the National Visa Center. I don't know what stage your application is at right now, but call whoever has your application or email them and see if you can check the status, because 13 years for a green card holder mother or a U.S. citizen mother to sponsor their dad seems a little long. What is the best way to sponsor a sister? Is it better to sponsor my mom first and then she can file for her? So yes, that might be the best way, just because the sibling, sponsoring a sibling right now can take a minimum of 14 years. Where if you were a U.S. citizen, you sponsored your mom would probably get through the process in 2 years. And then if your mom sponsored your sister, then if your sister is over 21 and unmarried, then she would be looking at maybe another 5 years. So when you look at the timeline for you to sponsor your mom and then your mom to sponsor your sister, would definitely be less time than the 14 years. So Tug 1981, if I'm getting Medicaid and my child food stamps, will it affect my adjustment of status? So with Medicaid, it depends. So they rarely go after you for going on Medicaid, especially if you have emergency Medicaid. But if you have Medicaid and say, for example, your sponsor had the means to pay for your medical care, your insurance, and if that information ever got back to the USCIS, that may pose a problem for you where they may require reimbursement. However, if you're getting Medicaid because, say, you're undocumented, usually you have to qualify for it anyway. And usually, for example, undocumented immigrants would qualify via emergency Medicaid. And emergency Medicaid is usually not something that would affect your immigration process, especially if it's in regard to your child. If you know any benefits that your U.S. citizen child gets, so food stamps or Medicaid, that is not seen as benefits that it's not seen as if you are taking out those benefits. It's for your child. Oh, so Felipe, you're outside of the U.S. So in the case that you're outside of the U.S., then you would need to make sure that you qualify to have it expedited, and that the best way to do that would be to evaluate how ill your mom is, and second of all, I'm sorry to hear that your mom is ill. But that seems to be a sticking point, that it may be an emergency, it may be something that where she absolutely needs you there to be her caretaker, and in a case like that, you could definitely apply to have it expedited, but get legal advice and legal assistance to get it done. Vishal 623 is overseas child custody order applicable to the US. So that is a more complex issue, and that's more family immigration related. So you'd have to speak to an international family attorney because the laws are different in different countries, and that's more complicated. So Zigzag, my kids are American born, but I can't get a visa to travel with them on holidays or special events. That has to be hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. However, what may be happening is because you're not showing the officer that you have strong ties to your home country, the officer is not convinced that you would go back to your country if you visited the United States. And so they may be denying you on that basis. And so what you have to do is you have to bring strong evidence to your visa interviews to show that you will return. So for example, you have to show that your property, your financial ties, your business, your work, if you have commitments that would be hard to break, it's best to show that. Mortgages, loans, debt, and so forth. Nikki Bless 39, what's the waiting period to file a petition for my kids? So Nikki Bless, if you're a US citizen and your kids are over 21, then it's about 5 to 6 years. If they're under 21, I would say could be as little as 9 months up to 2-year process, just depending on how smooth the process is. If there are no delays, then it could be as little as 9 months. If you're a green card holder and they're under 21 and unmarried, it's going to be about 2 years. If they're over 21 and unmarried, it's going to be about 5 to 6 years. Alicia, could a girlfriend sponsor for an unlegal? Unfortunately, no. So you would have to become your boyfriend. You would have to become the wife to your boyfriend. So you both would have to get married, and you'd have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to sponsor your boyfriend. Alice Hapan, thank you for following. Roxanne, it's nice to see you. Hi, my dad is a citizen of a U.S. 2 years now. Is it possible for him to send me an invitation? So if you are under 21 and you're unmarried, he can file for your green card. If you're over 21 and unmarried, he can file for your green card. It would take about 5 to 6 years. If you're married, it takes about 12 years. If you just want a visitor's visa, though, unfortunately, your dad sending an invitation would not necessarily be the strongest part of the application. What the officer is going to be looking at is whether you have strong ties to your home country that would convince the officer that you will return after you have visited temporarily. So if you're talking about a visitor's visa for him to send an invitation, that is what you need to focus on. So Zigzag McCann, the number is 561-405-4889. It's also all over my videos, so you can check out my videos, and you can also go to the link in my bio where you will find my number on the website. So let's see, I am scrolling through. So Sin Kovic, my wife is a green card holder. We got married last year, August, but we have not heard anything. We submitted our papers. So everything is a little backlogged and delayed, and so even getting receipt notices and biometrics appointments is delayed as well. What I encourage you to do is call them and schedule make sure there's nothing on your side that is holding up the process. Make sure that they haven't asked for anything, or that it wasn't rejected, and then you can figure it out from there, hopefully. If you do need assistance or for further legal advice to make sure you're on the right track, you can always give the office a call and schedule a consultation. Diva 9 Queen, hi, my travel authorization documents are denied, so what I do now. So Diva 9 Queen, is that when it comes on to denials, I'll have to evaluate your situation in more detail in a personal consultation, because sometimes denials are based on different reasons, and so my advice would be based on why you got the denial in the first place. So it's very important for you to schedule a consultation in order to get that much needed legal advice, because I know we've talked about this before, and so I encourage you to give me a call and let's talk about it. Roxanne, you are welcome. RBB Williams, thanks for following. Amrita, thanks for following. So Imaran Yasin, I married to a permanent resident, but she's on Medicaid. Can she still file for me? So if you can get a sponsor to show that a sponsor to be able to sign the affidavit of support, then the process can still go forward. I noticed that you said that she is a permanent resident, and if you don't currently have your legal status, you also want to make sure that you still qualify for the adjustment of status. If you don't have your legal status, you won't qualify, especially if you've overstayed by 180 days. Very important that you get legal advice to make sure you're approaching the situation correctly. So Kayla, thanks for following. Nikki Bless, you're welcome. So Kayla, can you help with the fiance visa? Absolutely. Yes, I do the fiance visas and I can definitely help. The first step is to schedule a consultation with me at 561-405-4889. You can call the office at any time after hours, which is 6:30 p.m. Eastern. You're going to get the after hours receptionist who will take good care of you, take your information, and then pass it on to the scheduling assistant who will put you on my schedule and make sure that you're confirmed for an appointment with me. So go ahead and give my office a call and I will gladly help you. Bella Shaw, how can I apply for a work permit if I overstayed my time? So Bella Shaw, you'll have to qualify for a particular immigration benefit. And what I mean by that is you'd have to qualify for a special type of visa or status or green card to be able to apply for the work permit. Usually when we talk about work permits, we mean the work permit is usually granted during an immigration process to kind of help someone to settle in while they wait for a decision on the application that they have submitted. So that is the first step. So the first thing you have to do is see what you qualify to apply for in order to get the work permit. So Brown Nizzle, is it possible to get a work visa until my green card comes through? Yes, that could be a possibility, but it depends on what your circumstances are, what your qualifications are, who the employer is. So with that, there are different moving parts, and because there are so many work visas out there, we would have to first look at what works for you, what would be feasible in your situation. So Roxanne, can my dad send me an invitation? He lives there 3 years. So Roxanne, I did answer your question, and with the invitation, it doesn't really matter if he sent you an invitation. What matters is that you show that you have strong ties in your home country that would convince the officer you will return. if you visited temporarily. And Roxanne Butterfly, thanks for sharing. Denim, thanks for following. Philippe, thanks for sharing. So 49 Drake, a mother filed for her adult and she passes away. Would they still be able to come to the States? Well, there is something called the Humanitarian Reinstatement. However, it all depends on timing, the circumstances, and facts. What I highly suggest you do is schedule a consultation, and then we'll go through the facts, the timing, whether the petition was approved before she passed, and then we can determine whether that humanitarian reinstatement would qualify in this case. So Kayla, is it a problem? I live in Mississippi. No, it should not be a problem. You can. So as for me representing clients, I represent clients all over the country. When we're filing these immigration applications, we have to file them all over the country. We have to work with USCIS offices all over the country. So we are very experienced. I'm very experienced with working with my clients in different states. And so you would be okay. I do video and phone consultations, and I'm very experienced with working with you once you hire me to get the paperwork done. Philippe, you're welcome. 4321 Kim, thanks for following. Sexy Bless, hi there, good evening, it's nice to see you. So Roxanne Butterfly, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So it's a little delayed on my end. So as the questions come in, I will go ahead and answer. I came with a topic that I usually talk about. And so while your questions roll in, I'll talk about the topic. Okay, so I see some more questions. Patsy Pie, you're welcome. It's my pleasure to share. 49 Drake, thanks. I'm in Canada. I will provide them with your info. That would be great. I would look forward to hearing from them. Smile Lol Beach, hi, I got arrested 2 times, but they were dismissed both. Can I still become a citizen? It is possible, but I couldn't confirm, because when it comes on to criminal issues, even though it was dismissed, it's very important to have it evaluated and be prepared for the process. Even though it's dismissed, for example, you still have to disclose the arrest. Even if you got it wiped from your record, even if it's expunged, it still must be disclosed. And so it's, especially if it's drug related, you want to make sure that you get an evaluation done before submitting that application. I can't stress the importance of that. In some cases, even if it's dismissed under immigration law, it still can be considered a guilty. So for example, if the judge said, or there was a plea deal where you said, yes, you would plead guilty, and then you would go through a year program where they would, see if you met all the conditions of good behavior, and if you did, they would dismiss it. That's still considered a guilty. So it all depends on the facts and the statute involved and the what happened and before, because an officer can even evaluate the facts involved and determine whether, based on the arrest or your actions, whether that still leads to a lack of good moral character. So it's very important to get that evaluation. You can give me a call at 561-405-4889. We can review in detail what happened, your situation, and then I can advise you based on the citizenship. I also advise you to get an attorney to go through the citizenship process with you, so that you have someone there that has your back, that knows the ins and outs of the law, to be able to advocate for you. And that's exactly what I do. So give me a call. Can't stress the importance of that enough. Hi there, Onika. It's nice to see you. Benny Love 90, thanks for following. Anthony Thompson, can you repeat the number? My number is 561-405-4889. And it's also on my videos. So if you follow me, you can still see the... So Tamika Burrell, thanks for following. Smile, you are welcome. Merv 1080, can I travel back to the US if they leave the country before going to the interview? Well, it depends. I would not, if you have a green card process pending, I would not advise you to leave the country unless you have permission to do so, like a travel document. And even then, you have to be very careful. It depends on what kind of application you're filing for, what kind of situation you're in. But usually when you're going through the adjustment of status process, and especially if you've fallen out of status, you don't want to just leave the country because you may not be able to come back. Similar 1997, thanks for following. Betha, I applied for alien petition last July for my wife, and I've heard anything so far. What is wrong? So there has been a backlog, especially due to COVID, and before that things were slow. What you can do, give the customer service line a call and make sure that your application is there. Make sure that there's nothing that they need from you. Make sure your mail is going to the right address. Patsy Pie, thanks for following. 49 Drake, if the sponsor is in a coma, can the sponsorship still proceed? So that is a good question. And in that case, because they are still, the person is still alive and not deceased, then it would be a matter of who. I've never dealt with an issue like that. That would definitely be a novel issue. It would be difficult for it to go through, but there is a question of whether they had a power of an attorney who could step in on their behalf and sign papers on their behalf. That could be a possibility, but that is something that probably rarely happens. Ren Lim Castildo, if my case is annulled, can I still have a chance to get a work permit? So if your case is canceled, then the work permit will probably become invalid along with it. So it just depends on what's going on. I can only assume that if the work permit is associated with the case, then the case, if it's canceled, that work permit is going to be canceled too. Good evening, how are you? I have a question. If you overstay on an H-2B, what can I do to stay? You would have to qualify for some sort of other status, and you'd have to qualify. If you're looking to stay with a green card, you'd have to qualify through family, through another employer or the same employer, or through humanitarian means. That's a very broad question, and it really depends on what your circumstances are to advise. I can only give you general information, but if you are thinking about applying for another type of status, what you can start with is a consultation to make sure you're on the right track, to make sure you are well prepared for what is to come. Adrian, thanks for the compliment. Cobra 7899, thanks for the follow. So let's see. Dark Volt, thanks for the follow. Can I invite my fiance with the kids at the same time? So it would be called the fiance visa. And what would happen is once you did the fiance visa, the kids could be included in the fiance visa. But once your fiance comes over, you would have 90 days to get married and then do the adjustment of status process. If you need help with this, just go ahead and give me a call at 561-405-4889 and schedule. Let's get started. So Tug 1981, hi, I did my biometrics now, scheduled for the interview. Will I still get my work permit? So it could very well be that you could possibly still get the work permit before, even though it would be a short time for you to have it. But I have seen where the work permit still came shortly before the interview. So that could still be a possibility. Can a student apply for the green card while in school? Yes. But how it happens in your case depends on how you qualify for the green card, what your status is, what are the limitations of the student, the actual student visa. Because, for example, J1, sometimes they have restrictions that limit when they can apply for the green card. So it's very important you get legal advice before applying. Shamira, thanks for the follow. Merv 1080, what is considered out of status? So out of status means that you've overstayed your visa, and because of that you've overstayed your visa, or if you came into the country even without a visa, then you're living in the US without a status. So out of status sometimes refers to overstaying the visa and then not having a status because now the visa is no longer valid, or coming into the country without the papers. So Anthony Thompson, you're welcome. So great questions, everyone. Thank you for your questions. I am here every day. So what you can do is, if you need me to provide you a legal consultation, so RJ30, Dark Horse 45, hi there. It's nice to see you on here. Thanks for tuning in. Stars 130, hey. I am doing fine, thank you. I have been here since 1993, cross the border. Is there any hope? So there are ways, but I would definitely need to speak with you in a consultation. If you have children who are U.S. citizens, if you have a spouse, if you have other family members, if someone filed for you on or before 2001, but the paperwork never went through, that could possibly be a pathway. The first thing that you should do is schedule a consultation and figure out what you can do. Now, because you came into the country without any papers, you probably would need a waiver. If you qualify for the green card through some way, you would need to likely get a waiver. But I would like to talk to you to figure out what happened and figure out what you qualify for. So Lila, I didn't see your previous question. So Sam Sally, I can assist. I do take clients in all 50 states. So yes, we have to file our paper, the applications all across the United States. We work with the USCIS offices all across the US. And as an immigration attorney, we can work with clients nationwide. So if you would like to get a consultation, I do phone and video consultations. So I've been here since 2000. They always give me a hard time, and anything I apply for, I have my tenure. So I'm sorry to hear that. And it sounds like you may be on your way to U.S. citizenship. So if you need further assistance, always feel free to give me a call. So if I get deported for a conspiracy charge, how can I come back? So it really depends on what the circumstances are, but there are waivers available to some individuals if they have a qualifying relative to come back. Puppy Girl, thank you for that. Yes, sir. Hi there. Anne Murray, you're welcome. Leo, you're welcome. All right, well, thank you for your questions. I'm here every night, so follow me so that you can get notification when I go live so that I can answer your questions then. So have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.